look at safety concerns and measures following multiple train derailments this year.
What the future of the housing market looks like for now.
And a recap of top sports this week.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV News at Noon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining ntTV News at Noon. I'm Soren Dorado.
And I'm Mark Barrera. The rise of the opioid fentanyl has been alarmingly increasing in the North Texas region.
How to know the signs of a possible overdose and an event that the University Police Department is holding. Let's go to our live reporter, Carla Castillo, who has more on this.
Thanks, guys. This past Thursday, the UNT Police Department held an event to talk about the usage of fentanyl. Currently, there has been a rise of fentanyl here in the North Texas region. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is used to treat severe pain. This drug is also used illegally in the forms of powder. Others also mix this synthetic opioid with fentanyl. Some signs of fentanyl overdosing are vomiting, weak breath, and cold and clammy skin. In 2021 alone, there were 1,612 fentanyl-related deaths here in Texas, in comparison to 886 in 2020. According to the Texas Department of Public Safety, since 2021, they have seized more than 360 million lethal doses of fentanyl. That is enough to kill a man, woman, and child in the United States. But this is all I have for you guys. I'll go back to you guys at the studio.
Yesterday was President's Day, but despite the cause for celebration, many were focused on one: the status of Jimmy Carter. The 39th President of the United States entered hospice care late last week. As everyone was reflecting on his presidency, here's what author Kai Bird had to say about his legacy.
He was the only president who used the White House as a stepping stone to greater things. And it's true, you know, he had a remarkable ex-presidency. Just a continuation of his presidency in many ways, doing good works.
Thankfully, Carter is surrounded by loved ones during this time. We will continue to monitor his health.
Two major train derailments that happened in Ohio and Michigan, leading to major toxic contamination, causing 1.1 million gallons of water to be removed from the area, as well as 15,000 pounds of soil in the town of East Palestine, Ohio. In response, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg was very outspoken in a letter to Norfolk Southern about increasing its inspections on trains that have highly flammable or toxic chemicals. On top of that, Secretary Buttigieg also wants to implement a true crew staffing rule, which would require a minimum of 2 crew members during most railroad operation hours.
You know what, Mark? 2 days ago, I needed jackets, I was cranking up the heat, but today it's going to be 80 degrees outside.
You know, I'm actually really happy about that. I get to finally wear shorts, and I like the heat, so
oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I'm happy about it.
Well, let's toss it over to Gabby for today's conditions.
Thanks, guys. Now, we are going to hit 80 degrees today, but it's not technically going to come till later. But as of right now, we have 76 degrees in Denton, Texas, and partly cloudy skies. It does feel like 80 with those low winds about 4 to 5 miles an hour. But as we go into the evening hours, we are going to hit that 80-degree mark at 81 degrees. It's going to feel cooler, though, at 77. So, you know, classic Texas weather for you. But as we go into tomorrow, we are going to see different temperatures. We're going to reach 77 degrees. It's going to feel a little cooler because we're going to have high wind speeds, cloudy skies, and possibly even some thunderstorms, but I'm going to talk about that later in my 7-day forecast. But for now, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. When we come back, we'll see what UNT is up to at the state capitol.
And consumer news you will want to know, and when we be right back.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
Today, many UNT students, faculty, staff, and alumni will gather in Austin to speak to Texas legislators about the amazing things the university is doing. This including the incredible research and the learning opportunities being offered. The attendees will be separated into groups to visit lawmakers to advocate for more state funding to better the opportunities on our campus.
A trip to Austin could also be a good chance to look at some real estate as housing prices are starting to decline in certain cities across the state and the country. CNN's Cole Higgins shares more on why economists think even more declines may be on the way.
Despite the housing market still seeing soaring prices across the country, some regions are actually seeing double-digit price drops from their peak last year.
We will see house prices continue to weaken in different parts of the country. Now, of course, house prices rose very strongly during much of the pandemic, and we're just retracing some of those price gains.
According to the National Association of Realtors, the price for a single-family median home increased 4% in the fourth quarter from a year ago to more than $378,000. But their data also revealed in some markets, prices are actually declining. San Francisco had the biggest price drop in the country, down 6.1% from a year ago and 21% lower from its peak. A similar decline in nearby San Jose, California, which was the most expensive place to purchase a home in the U.S. in the fourth quarter, with a median price of more than $1.5 million. The latest data finds that price is down 5.8% from a year ago and 17% off its peak.
But nonetheless, for folks that have bought a home in the last 6-12 months, it's going to be somewhat painful because they're going to see the value of their home fall, here pretty significantly.
In Southern California, home prices in Anaheim were down 1.6% from a year ago, and in Los Angeles, prices are down 1.3%. Outside of the Golden State, several cities also saw declines, including Boulder, Colorado, down 2%, Boise, Idaho, where prices fell 3.4%, and Austin, Texas, where prices are down 1.3%. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Home Depot is planning to boost the pay and benefits of their frontline hourly workers by $1 billion this year. Home Depot didn't announce how much more the average hourly worker would earn, but they do have more than 430,000 employees on an hourly wage. It seems that Home Depot has been trending on a positive note this year, as their earnings were up 4%, net sales were up 4%, and the company shared that they are raising dividend by 10%. We'll dive into some Hollywood headlines.
And new legislation that has Texas sports teams on board. Stay with us.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
You know, Soren, we were both talking earlier about the new Avatar Way of Water movie, and did you know that it is the 3rd highest grossing film of all time?
Oh, wow. And neither of us has seen it yet.
Right.
Well, our own Carmen has her very own story about the very successful movie right here.
With a big hit, the iconic movie Avatar is making a debut in Hollywood. Here is David Daniel with more.
Avatar: The Way of Water has passed Titanic for 3rd place on the worldwide all-time box office chart. With $2.244 billion, the sequel is still more than $500 million behind Avengers Endgame for 2nd and nearly $680 million behind the original Avatar for 1st. Of course, with the 2 Avatars and Titanic, James Cameron still has 3 of the top 4 highest-grossing movies ever.
Pushing our sound to places we've never been before, and that
Pentatonix is kicking off a busy week on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Grammy-winning a cappella group gets a star today in the live performance category. 3 days from now, a posthumous star ceremony is planned for the late actor Ray Liotta in the movies category. And then 3 days after that, actress and producer Courtney Cox gets her star in the television category. Plenty of friends figure to be on hand for all 3 Tinseltown events. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The award-winning movie was huge. I want to see Avatar. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you. New legislation has been proposed for Texas that would make sports gambling legal.
Among the teams that support this legislation include the Houston Astros, Houston Rockets, the Dallas Cowboys, and Texas Rangers.
If this legislation passes, Texas would join the other 33 states that allow sports betting and gambling. And if that goes through the House, Senate, and Governor Greg Abbott, it would be effective in November of this year. Sports gambling. What team would you bet on, Mark?
I can tell you what team I wouldn't bet on. The Dallas Cowboys.
I would bet it all on the Dallas Stars. But let's hand it over to sports, Gabby Pippins, to see if there are any local teams to throw in our roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Mean Green men's basketball team would be a great pick based on their recent scoring streak. We'll be breaking that down along with how amazing the NBA All-Star Weekend was and how NASCAR kicked off its 75th season of racing right after this.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
This weekend kicked off the NBA All-Star Games in Salt Lake City. Last Friday, the celebrity game featured names such as actor Simu Liu and former NFL player DK Metcalf, who took home the MVP title of that game. Moving on to Saturday, they featured the three-point contest, where Dame Time made an appearance to win the title, and Matt McClung stole the show at the dunk contest. Finally, Sunday was the start of a new All-Star game where the classic East versus West script was rewritten, with each team captain choosing their teams live, playground style, minutes before the game. Team LeBron and Team Giannis faced off, and after 4 quarters of fun alley-oops and half-court shots, Team Giannis won 184 to 175, with one All-Star shining particularly bright. Jason Tatum was not only named MVP, but he set the All-Star Game scoring record with 55 points, breaking Anthony Davis's former record of 52 points. Moving on, NASCAR kicked off its 75th season of racing with their 65th Daytona 500 this Sunday. This race is considered a rite of passage in NASCAR, and to win one is almost as good as winning the entire Cup Series. To celebrate these 75 amazing years, several legendary racers such as Joey Logano and more notably Richard Petty gave the famous "Start Your Engines" cue. Now, as per usual, things came down to the final stage and the final lap, with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Joey Logano fighting for number 1 over countless laps. The final lap brought a literal explosion. As the two seemingly reached the checkered flag at the same time, over 8 racers collided behind them after a failed attempt by Kyle Larson to speed ahead. After a closer look, though, Stenhouse Jr. just barely clinched that racing flag first, and then he was able to win this Daytona 500, bringing him his first win. Now, let's get to our UNT Mean Green, because our basketball team is on a roll so far. Our men's team is currently on an 8-game win streak as they sit at second in the Conference USA, just shy of first. Their game Saturday against UT El Paso was a little bit of back and forth, but it ended with a tie last-minute score by El Paso. In overtime, Tyler Perry and Kai Huntsberry kicked things into overdrive and led our Mean Green to win 80-72. Perry scored 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, while Huntsberry scored 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Let's hope their win streak continues and that history is able to repeat itself as they take Charlotte on in North Carolina for a second time Thursday. That's all I've got for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you for watching ntTV News at Noon.
Join us again tonight at 6 here on North Texas Television.